Hi, and let me know if the audio is okay. How will you let me know if the chat is not working? According to my views, I can see the audio is fine. I see that the chat is not working. So I think the WhatsApp is the only option for you to get back to me. So, okay, if you're here, you probably know me and you have heard about what are the things we do. But right now, the focus is about what we will do during this 3 to 4 weeks. Right? We have this lockdown period, and we want to do something. Yeah, this is what I think you would have heard about, right? So, what we are going to do is we are going to do a mobile app development, and right now we think we should be doing for a mobile app that does a COVID-19 status update. Okay, so what we will do is we will develop an app for Android, for iOS, and PWA. Now, what is a PWA? We'll talk about that. Right now, what we are going to do is we will develop a COVID-19 status report app. So, this is an app and which will tell the status about the COVID, that is like the pandemic that has taking us to this difficult time. So we don't know what we want to show, right? It is not very clear, but in my mind I know that we want to show the status report, like you want to know how many positive cases have been found in your local area or in your city or in your district, in your state. And you would also want to know how things are like growing from one point to another. Let's go back to March 25, right? So on March 25, we have a difficult situation now. Like our chat, for some reason, the YouTube chat is saying that it is unable to connect to chat. So for me, it's not showing up. So, but I have someone with me, and you can actually reply to chat. Yeah, in my software, it's not working, but on YouTube, it's working. So let's go on chat. And for some reason, the audio was also off. So I'll take it from the beginning. So if you've just joined right now, it's okay. We will repeat what we have done. And for those who were there for the last 5 minutes, okay. Okay, we have some situation where audio is not working. Just hold on. I'll fix that up. Okay. Some configurations that we are doing. I think we are now set. The audio should be working in most cases. Rather, now in all cases, the audio should be working. Yeah. Right. So I want to check another situation. This is a kind of a test. I have set up a complex system. I have a place to draw. I have a place to show my screen, and then I have a backdrop of a TV. Let me check if my drawing app works. This is a test, so hold on. It's the first session that we are doing today. Right, my screen I think is now up. You can see what I'm drawing. This is my tab, and I will use OneNote to draw. So just scribbling out here. Fine, this should work. Let me press start on the device. Okay, now you can see my tab. Okay, here is my, so suppose I'm drawing a square, it comes up, I draw a circle, it comes up. So even this is fine, right? We are set. Thanks for the patience. The chat is active, so you can keep commenting on the chat, and I'll get to know about the feedback. So I'll just repeat, and this time I'll be quick. So let's go to the PPT. What are we going to do? We are going to do a mobile app development, and we have 3 weeks time, 3 to 4 weeks. We, like, everybody has a different level of understanding of programming. So for some I think it will be done in 3 weeks, for others it can be 4 weeks, and if you all go together probably we'll end up in 4 weeks, or we can actually understand what all is needed in 1 or 2 weeks. And this is pretty easy. For example, all that you need to know right now is, I expect that you know what is programming. You are used to laptop, and this cannot be done only by phone. Okay, you can watch me doing on phone, but your sessions has to be done. You have to practice on a laptop, and I recommended not to use a phone. Phone is only a second option. Use a laptop, because I'm writing code here and they are really small for you to read on a phone. So here's what you have to do. You need to have a laptop, you need to have a good internet connection, and these recordings for this first session will be available on YouTube. So for the you can actually forward this link to your friends. Okay, I assume that you know a little bit of programming. For instance, in your high school or in your school, you have done programming. You know what is a compiler, you know what is a source code, you know what is an editor, right? We will not be covering all that. And I also assume that you know to write a loop. Will not be learning. This is not a programming session, okay? And also I assume that you know a bit of command line. So these are the assumptions. Now what is the next thing that we are going to do? We are going to figure out what we are going to develop. I'll repeat, as I've said before, we are going to develop a mobile app that reports the COVID-19 status. So you're going to develop a mobile app, and this app will show what is the status of COVID-19 in the regions of your interest. So you can design that. For example, if you are interested in a particular state, you design an app for a particular state, or you can extend it for the entire country, right? So now what is the next thing? you can actually keep it very simple as well. Uh, what we will do is uh, we will develop a simple app, and let me change the slide. And okay, before I go ahead, let me talk about myself. I am Pankaj Bhagat, and I have 20 plus years of experience. And during this lockdown period, I'm assuming that you have some time and you want to be productive in this. So the reason we are coming up with this is uh, we want you to get skilled. And when it is time, when the lockdown gets over, you probably have all the skill that needs to get employed. Now, even if during the lockdown period, you can use these skills, go to some websites or apps that gives you freelancing work like Fiverr and others. You can just Google for the best apps and websites where you can offer yourself as a developer, or you can also offer yourself as an assistant to any developer. So you can actually in the beginning do some guided work, and I will get you started on what is like what is needed to do a professional looking mobile app. Okay, what is the assumption I make? Okay, I didn't finish about myself. In this last 20 years I have worked with IBM, and while I was there and before IBM I used to work in a startup. I really had a difficult time, like most of the people who faced that, except for the toppers. I was not the topper. Okay, I was kind of I just used to manage first division, like, but I was not among the toppers. But later on I decided that this is the thing. I got interested in computer science and I spent hours together to practice and learn. I was a latecomer, okay, but then I caught up. So if you're a latecomer like me, don't worry. If you're thinking what will happen in this lockdown, there are job losses, companies are laying off, don't worry. Things will be under control, but you need to get prepared for the time. So when it is time and people will be giving job offers, are you in a situation to take that? So don't worry, start working. No worry, but working. So then I got awarded for certain innovations, and based on my training experience, even before I was in IBM, I was also a trainer. So based on my training experience, I got an opportunity to be a trainer for the corporates. So from IBM, I used to go out across India to train certain companies. Now those were the companies which never employed me. Remember, I told you that I was a beginner. I was struggling. I didn't get a job in the desired level. I used to work on a technical support. That's not the work I wanted to do. But then before that I was a trainer and I wanted to do development. But these companies like IBM, Wipro, TCS, Deloitte, all these companies, Accenture, name them, I've been there. I've applied. They probably didn't even look at my resume, but somehow things turned around, and I'll talk about that later, how things turned around. But then I got into IBM. Now once I was there, I went back to these companies training those employees. Okay, I trained all these companies that I interviewed: Deloitte, Accenture, TCS, Wipro, Infosys. Infosys is one of my companies where I always wanted to go, but I was never shortlisted. I was an average student, and Infosys says that you need to be consistently performing as a topper, and I never did that. So I'm not even eligible. But then I trained those people. Okay, so this is how things can turn around. Things can be bad right now, but with time it will turn around. You need to keep getting ready for that, and I'm here to get you started. Okay, so in this process of my training, I have trained more than 5,000. Actually, I've lost count of how many I did. Later on I realized that I should just have some numbers, so I backtracked, not backtracked, I backtraced and I found out how many trainings I did, and this is an approximation I'm coming up. Probably the number is more. So I'm being on the safer side. I've trained around 5,000 individuals, and every month I used to go for a couple of corporate trainings. Almost couple of corporate trainings. So this is what was happening throughout when I was in IBM. So I trained there. I worked for IBM for around 5 years. Yeah, I'll merge up my previous work. That's a story. I was working for a small company that acquired by IBM, and then that's the entire experience that I have with the startup and IBM. Then later on, I had so many ideas, and I was seeing that people are just doing innovative works, and I used to get ideas, and I thought, why don't I do something? But it was a risky thing anyway. I quit my job, and I found some work outside, and then I started working. And in a year or two, I founded my own company, Cedar IT. And right now, we are developing mobile apps. We also do machine learning, and we are trying to apply in different areas of that. We do data analysis and data science as well. Now, what will you learn? You will learn about app development. And I'll talk about what you need to know before that, but I'll tell you what you will get after if you're eligible. Now, this is mobile app development. Mobile apps are popular in only two platforms like Android and iOS. And what we'll be doing needs two. We need Android and iOS, but we will not be coding for both. Okay, we'll be coding only one. So this is kind of an hybrid. There are two things: hybrid and native. And there is a huge kind of a debate which one is better. So we will not get into that debate. What I want to tell is most of the things can be done using a hybrid app, but not everything can be done through hybrid app. So for certain situations, you need to do native. So, but there is a disadvantage with native as well. For example, if you are a small team or an individual and you think you want to do everything native, then you have to write code twice. You have to write for Android using Java or whatever they provide, and then you have to write for iOS. So what we are going to do is, however, there are new technologies and new things are coming up, which is trying to bridge the gap between these two. But anyway, these two things always remain. There is a hybrid and there is a native. So no, whoever is bridging the gap is an hybrid. Native is purely on that operating system. That means if you write code for iOS, it will work only for iOS. So I assume it is clear, right? There are two ways. One is hybrid, one is native. What we are going to do is hybrid. So what is hybrid? I write code once and it will write in two places. Now I know some of you guys would be thinking that this is like Java. Java is write once, run everywhere, right? So similar to that, you write only on one platform, one language, and then we'll build it for others. There are tools we'll use to convert that, okay? And in this app development, we should consider this as technologies that are used in web development. So we have web development. You know what is a web development? Website development, okay? What is there in a website? It is HTML. So in the beginning, when there was internet and there was website, all the cry about the world getting connected, it was only website, right? It was only HTML. Then later on, we wanted to improve on that. HTML was like, just text, like you would type it on Notepad, right? And then probably Microsoft Word, you put some images and videos around there. But then styling was not there. It wasn't looking appealing and visually good. So CSS started getting evolved and the pages started to look good. So you can think of CSS as like earlier there were houses, right? Only buildings, right? Like HTML, okay? HTML is like the building, the houses. Then later on, CSS came in. Now, CSS is the interior design of the house or the exterior design of the house. Now, a beautiful house, a modern house, a well-built house, everybody likes that, right? So that is possible through CSS. So the whole structure is on HTML, the building is on HTML, but then you have CSS, the interior design. But then, certain things are still static. Yeah, house in search is static. It doesn't change the structure. It doesn't respond as such. So what we did was, what the software professionals, engineers, what they did is they came up with JavaScript, and it got evolved magically. Like JavaScript is kind of in HTML. If you kind of add some functions, for example, I'm taking this house example, right? Suppose you have a building and you automate that house, right? When you walk in, say around 2 feet of the main door, the door opens. Now, door should not open always. It should also recognize whether you are the guy who is authorized to enter. So JavaScript is a kind of a thing what is automation for home, right? So JavaScript does for websites as home automation does for your home. So you definitely want, more and more activities happening around. You want to control a lot of things and it should be dynamic. And JavaScript, that's how it develops. So we are going to use three things. What are the three things? HTML, very basic, very, very basic. I'll talk about that later. Right now, I'm telling only of the technologies that we will learn. HTML, very basic, but foundational. Without it, we cannot progress. CSS, styling. Without it, things will not look beautiful. Then JavaScript. Without this, nothing will be dynamic. Everything is static. There's no action. You cannot do anything. You just watch. There's no user interaction. And there's no response from the user. I will not even tell who has come in. I'll not even allow people. So that's what is JavaScript. This is the brief. Okay. Now that was about 20 years ago. Yeah. Some of you were not even born. That was about 20 years ago. Now, how things have changed even with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. About say a few years ago, I think 4 5 years ago, there was a good popular framework, Angular, which was built on Node.js. I don't want to go with the dates, but I know that around 2010 or 2012, Node.js and this JavaScript framework started becoming popular. So instead of JavaScript being on the client side, I know you don't understand what is a client or server. I have not explained. Maybe you know. So there came in a technology called Node.js, and based on that, the whole world changed. And the most of the functionalities that you see on the mobile apps, uh, like live statuses and all, even the mobile apps, they are possible only because we have a framework like Node.js. So we will use Node.js. I'm not going to talk about how to build on Node.js, how to program on Node.js, but we will use Node.js. So we will install it, we'll use it. So we will get introduced to Node.js. This is kind of, I'm trying to tell you what are the things we'll cover. Then we'll have JavaScript. Now we are going to focus on that because all programming is on JavaScript and we are going to use a lot of JavaScript. We will also use TypeScript, and actually we'll be doing on TypeScript, which is oops way of JavaScript. Now this is a summary, okay? This is a short way. We will work on CSS, we'll work on Ionic, and Ionic is that particular framework that takes your write once, run everywhere kind of thing. So it uses Codo or code capacitor. So these are the things that we'll be working on. And Angular, its version keeps changing. They keep upgrading every few months. So we are currently on 9. So we'll be using Angular 8 and 9. So far this is what we are going to do. So if what's the next thing? Let's go on to the next slide. What should you know? You should know a little bit of programming. Okay, you should have done some at least high school programming. These days you have it in your high school, right? You learn Java, C, C++. Some of these programming languages are taught in high school. So if you know Java, any of these programming languages, and if you're familiar with computers, like I don't want to teach you where is the drive and how do you unzip. I've seen some students, struggling with that. So I'll not be able to help you on that. You need to find some help on that. And we have a limited time. So this is what you should know. What are we going to build? Let's talk about that. What are we going to build? In the meantime, let me check if there is anything on the chat. Okay, we are going to build a COVID-19 app. Let us think about how should it be. Let's draw that. So here's my screen. Okay, let's think about how an app should be. We will take an app, say this is the first page of the app, and I want ideas. Okay, we are just trying to do anything that comes up on our mind. So I think on the top it should tell you the current count. So you have a box here which says 100. So number of positive cases today. Okay, so it should say number of positive cases today. And this data, you probably have a button here which says refresh. Okay, so you have a button here which says refresh. And then this is for only today. Probably you should have a button here which says the previous day, right? And because it's today, you do not have a button here. Okay, this button will be disabled, right? Then at the bottom, I think we can give a graph of how the number of cases are increasing or decreasing or flattening. We want it to be flattened. What else? Maybe we should have another page which says select your city, right? So we have options like these cities. These are like buttons here. So you have city 1, city 2, city 3, city 4. And that's not enough. We should also have a place where we can search. So this is kind of a search area. You type something here, okay? And then that particular city comes up. So on the top, you will see only that city. Say if I type city 1, only this shows up. We select that, and then this should show this page, right? In this, what are the things involved? You need to get data from the server, right? you need to get data from the server. So let me explain what a server is. Let's assume this is a server. Now I know you are using computers and you have been using it. Say this is your laptop, right? And you're visiting a particular site using Chrome. Now this is called the client and this is called the server. Agreed? Now if you're visiting say YouTube or you're visiting say Facebook, you are on the client side. That even a mobile app or a mobile phone is a client. They get data from the server. Your mobile phone doesn't work without the internet, right? I mean, you cannot visit a particular site without the internet. So what you do is you visit a particular site or an app which connects to the server, right? And then the server responds to it. That's how it is. So your laptop is connected or your mobile phone is connected to the internet. So these two lines in between, this is the internet. Okay, and it is actually a very complex structure, and but for us it doesn't matter, right? Even now the way we are connected, it's a complex structure. I'm connected from my router, then there is a service provider, and the service provider gets into the all India level service provider, then there are underground cables and it goes to the US, and then from the US it cuts back to you, or US or some other place where the server is, and then it gets back to you. So this is how a complex structure of a internet is. I want to simplify this, but before that I'll just take a minute break, a 30-second break. After the break I'll talk about example to understand a client and a server. If you have any questions, let me know. I think what you can also do is you can tell me like what is your background, like what are you doing right now? Are you an engineering student, or have you passed out? You're not a computer science student, and probably you have exams. Just tell me your situation. I'll try to customize my session according to that. Yeah, let me know about you, so that I can help. If you have any questions or anything to say, you can put it on the chat. Okay, the break is over. Now what we will do is we will try to understand how a client and server is. Normally, this is one good example that I give. What I do is, so let me take you back to my tab. Right. So have you been to a restaurant? Okay, restaurants have opened up now, but I recommend you don't go there, but you have been there before. So suppose this is a restaurant, right? And it serves food. Okay, what does it serve? It serves food. Remember, I told this word, it serves, right? But then it has a customer, right? Here is a customer. He goes there and the restaurant serves him food. In this one, who is the client, or the customer can also be called the client. So you see, this is a very good and very simple example of a client and a server. Server is something that serves something or someone that serves, right? And client is someone who receives, who makes a request. Similar to this, there is a web server. Okay, I'll put it like this, and this is a web server. Let me call it web server. And then there is a client. Now in that case, the client is not a human, the client is a laptop, right? Or even your mobile phone. Now you make a request, just like a request was made here. So let me write it as RQ. You have an RQ here, and this guy, they prepare the food, right? The server prepares the food, and if it is already there, you get it. There are different kind of servers. One is a fast food server, okay, fast food restaurant. So they quickly respond to you. In the similar way, there is a server that takes some time to prepare what you want, and they respond to you, and some are very fast, and they respond. Let us write respond as RS. So every time you make a request, you make a request to the server, and the server gives you a response. So if, for example, you are in a restaurant and having this beautiful dosa, okay, and you want dosa. So you go to the restaurant and you do whatever the process to get a plate of dosa, and you get it, right? Now, in the midway, you want more chutney. So you make another request. The first one is request 1, and then you make a request 2. So what is a request 2 in the second request 2 in case of a laptop and a web server? The first request will be you are opening a website called, say, facebook.com or youtube.com. That is a request. So you tell that, serve me your home page, the default page, give me that. Then you type in something, you type for a particular keyword, right? Something that you're searching for. So that is your request too. So if you're on google.com and trying to search the thing that you type, say for example, you type for COVID news, right? Then you're making a special request. You're making a request, and then it responds with response to, right? That is how every time you make a request, you get a response. Now, what do you get in a response? In case of a restaurant, you get the food. So that's well known. I'll not explain on that. But in case of a website, what do you get? You get a web page. Now, what is a web page? Web page is made up of HTML. Now, HTML is written in terms of tags. I'll talk about these things in my first session when we get into HTML, but I'm still going to talk about how tags can be simple. Now, I'll first draw the HTML tag. So HTML tag begins with HTML, it ends with HTML. Okay, cases don't matter. It's just a tag. Okay, like it's just an internal information. Okay, just like you're passing on information or something in your classroom, you don't put it in a different format, right? You don't care of uppercase, lowercase. We just pass it on. I'm not talking about how you copy the answers. I'm just talking about passing of the information. Okay. So now a tag is like this, and inside that you say, okay, fine. Now I want to write the main thing. So you have a tag called body. Okay. Inside body, you write the main stuff. Say you can say hello. Right? Now, I want to give you another example. How is it that how is it that a tag is so important? Let me give you an example. You go to a tailor, right? I suppose you've been to a tailor, or say, okay, you're a fashion designer, okay, and then you ask him to make a blazer, or let me say that you ask him to make a shirt, right? Now you give him some instructions. He probably takes a note of everything. He says the sleeve size is this, the collar size is this, chest, wrist, whatever, the arm length, all these things, he makes a note of that. Now this guy makes note of this, so he's the master tailor, okay? He makes a note of this, and then he gives this note to his assistant, and he just takes this. This set of instruction is a tag. Right, they have a tag of information. So what he would have written? He would have written that size value 36 and close size. Now they don't write close, but if it is a program, you need to write a close. This greater than and less than brackets are what is called a tag. Okay, a tag opens and a tag closes. How do you make a tag close? You have the same greater than, less than, but then you have this / as well. Okay, so HTML requires that these tags be closed. Then say he wants to talk about the collar size. So he will say collar, and I don't know what the collar size is, but I'm just putting some numbers, say 15, and then I close. That is how tags are, right? Finally, the whole dress is ready. Information is passed from the master tailor to the executor. He refers to that and he builds it. Similarly, you have a server that sends a tag list. Okay, let me change the color. The server is in red and the tags list is in this. And this is what we call the HTML page. Now, HTML page is normally have an extension of say something.html. So any page that ends with index.html or something.html is an HTML page, and it is expected that you have these tags greater than less than things inside that. This comes to your laptop. So let me take another color. This comes to your laptop or the browser. Now I'm going to just keep the browser there. Okay, in the browser, now the browser reads the tag and then designs the page. So on the beginning you say hello, it displays hello. It doesn't display the tag, right? Think of it like you buy a shirt, right? A shirt has a price tag. Now you don't, yeah, you don't keep the price tag, right? If you buy a shirt, they have a price tag in it. You remove the price tag or it is hidden, right? I want to show you how these sources are hidden. So I'll give you a live demo to understand how a browser works. So I'll take up to one of my browsers. Just a second. Yeah, let me open up my browser. Just a sec. It's not happening here. Just a sec. Uh, yeah, there was a crash. So just hold on. Just hold on. We just experienced a crash. Right. I think we are set. Okay. For some reason, I'm not able to browse, so we'll just move on to something else. Uh, what we will do is we will take this example. Okay. I'm going to some news site. So I'll go to news.google.com and okay. So I'm on the news site, and you can actually go to any news.google.com. And in this site, I have certain news. For example, right now I have Corona news, right? So I want to tell you that this whole things that you see, the whole thing that you see is actually based on HTML. So how would you know that? Very simple. If you're on Chrome, right click, and you will see. You can right click anywhere on this page, and you will see inspect. Now that opens up another window. I'm going to show you that. Uh, my window has popped out. So on this side, you will see a window, and everything that you see on this window is the source code. You see this HTML? This whole thing is a source code on the right hand side. I'll try to expand this. Okay. This is uh, okay. What I want to do is probably I have an issue demonstrating it. So here, okay, I'll do one thing. I'll show you the source code and browsing through it in different sessions. Right now, we'll tell you what are the softwares we need to do, and I'll also give you a link of to download that. What you need to do is you need to go to uh, let just a second. Yeah, you need Visual Studio. You need the community edition of the Visual Studio Code. Generally, it is known as the code, and it's a software that you can download. Yeah, you can go to the Visual Studio Code and download it. I have a problem connecting my screen to show that. So, but the way I can do it is I can show it on my television. So you go to Visual. I'm continuously experiencing a problem with the connection. So what we'll do is I just want you to understand that in this entire session we are of 3 weeks we are going to make a COVID status app. Okay, and uh, in that COVID status app, we'll have live status of the total number of COVID positive cases, how many got cured. So you have to go to a government website and get the data. I have been doing that, so I'll give you that data. Where we will go there and we'll get this data, and we will feed the data on the server, and we will show it on the client. This is how things will work for us, right? So that's all for now. To be prepared for the next session, what you need to do is you should install Visual Studio Code. I was not able to demonstrate, but for those who have already shared your email ID with us, we will give you the link. And I also have a recorded video on what are the settings you need to do on the Visual Studio Code. So I will send you that, I think 2-3 minutes video, how you need to set up your Visual Studio Code. That's all for today. And we will start from tomorrow. We will learn from the beginning to the end. We will complete that in 3 weeks. Most primarily, we'll be working on Angular, and we'll making a mobile app. We'll be able to put it on the Play Store, right? So you'll have an app which will help you put it on the like during your interviews. Why do you need that? Because if you go for an interview, or if you are looking for some kind of a job or some kind of a freelancing work, you need to demonstrate what kind of work you have done before. So if you put it on the Play Store, you can actually show it on YouTube and other places, right? So now I also want to tell you, uh, can I get that sheet? I also want to tell you a few things need to be careful about, that we actually work real time. So this app will actually be on the Play Store. We don't do like others do. There are some people who just have made internship as the business, and that's their only thing that they do. And they claim that they have trained thousands of people in one summer season. I recently saw an ad that claims that they have trained 50,000 people as internship. I'm not sure if how can you do a real-time work with 50,000 people, and that too only an internship. So these are all fake stuffs. You need to do real work with real people, right? Not that who are terming training as an internship, right? They give, how can you have 50,000 projects, or say 10,000 projects, 5 people in a project? How can you have that? That's not practical. And there are also some people who just passed out of the college, and they have started their internship program. Now, to do internship, you need to be experienced, right? You need to have 5, 10, 20 years of experience, or you need to have some kind of experience. You are a startup, you are gaining experience, and how can you give experience to others? How can you give direction to others? So that's not possible. Some people are just there out of the business, seasonal business. They come only in the summer. I know one of the students who joined me as an intern, and then he had a tie-up with the college, and then he started a business of giving internship. So he's doing a kind of a business with that. Be careful with this all fake people. Okay, they just learn from somewhere and they do a training program. It's better be honest and tell that it's only a training program, right? You are just talking about technology, you are teaching technology, you're not making any project happen, right? You're not putting it on the Play Store. You don't have a client, you don't have a customer who's using it. Neither you have a funder, or you have some investment going on in that. So such things need to be careful about, and we will do that. And tomorrow's our connections will be better. We'll move on to a different platform. We'll probably be on Zoom for all those who have enrolled, and we will take on the complete learning session on there. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll just wait for a few seconds. Yeah. And for anything you want to contact, let me leave a number. Things are just crashing here, but I think this will show up. So you can have a WhatsApp chat on 70933400303. Yeah, you can call or chat on this number. Right, we are going to start tomorrow, and see you there at I think we'll have at 11:30, or we'll tell you the time. Okay, we'll let you know the time, or maybe we'll do it in the evening, whatever it is. I'll just wait for a few seconds. If you have any comments, feel free to comment, or you can WhatsApp on this number right there. Okay, then thank you so much. Thanks for your patience.